Hi there, Serial Trader here. Just want to do a quick update on Bitcoin, a little bit more of a short-term oriented assessment here. Now, whatever we did from this peak here, just under 65K, down to our 47,000 or so low, whatever that is, okay, and I've gone over in the previous videos a couple scenarios, or I should say a couple patterns as to what that might be. Whatever it is, I think it, with confidence, I'm saying this, I think it's finished, okay, so I think we did put in some sort of, tradable bottom there at around that 47,000 level. And from there, it looks like we have some sort of smaller degree impulsive wave off that bottom, so that's good. So that has me leaning that, okay, we've started something more substantial back to the upside. Whether it's going to be an internal retracement of this move down, and you can see, let me just remove the 38.2% retracement, whether it's just going to be an internal retracement of this overall move down and then roll over and go lower, or whether it's going to be an external new trending wave up. It doesn't really matter the way I'm going to present it here, because either way, I think we're going to have some sort of give back here that will form a higher low above that 47 or so area, and then we'll have at least one more push up. Like if you go with this, say that we got an A up, we get a B down, and then a C up, and then go down again, that is still looking for higher prices before we roll over. Or if we were to call this an impulse wave just starting in development here, maybe we got the one looking for the two, and then we'll get our sequence continuing on up. So at this point, we don't know which one of those it's going to be, but I think some things we do know. Okay, we have an important swing low down here. We have a smaller degree impulsive move off of that low. So let me go in on the 1 hour chart here, since we've looked at the 4. Oh, and by the way, just putting these retracements up here, we are running into some resistance right around that 50% retracement level, which also happens to be kind of this prior triangle congestion area. So perfectly natural area to at least initially encounter some resistance. Although I do think after we crack down here a bit, that we'll go and take that out and at least go up to some of these higher fib retracements, if not get out of this range and get back above that old prior all-time high. But again, let me go into the 1 hour chart. And I mean, you can make some attempts to label this. On these smaller time frames, it's often a little messier. Maybe I'll go to the 30 minutes, try and get a little more detail here. I mean, it went pretty vertical off that 47 area, so maybe we got some sort of 1, 2. Maybe this is the 3. We got some sort of little triangle action here. 4, and then when or no, hang on there, we could just call this a simple 4 here, and then we got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up for 5. So I'm pretty convinced we got an impulse wave off of our bottom there, even though the wave 2 is hard to decipher because it was just so basically a spike low and straight up off that level. Strong rejection off that level. Now from there, I think you can make a decent case here that we got maybe an expanded flat in the making here. So maybe A, B, C up for B. And what makes me think it's an expanded flat is that we have this kind of 3-wave looking move up to a new high, and then looking for a stab down here in C. And then we would put some fib retracement levels up. If we call this the orthodox top here, we could pull off of there, or we can just go right from swing low to swing high. I don't think it'll make a huge difference as far as our fib levels. And of course, we'll include the 382 retracement on both of those fib pulls. So you can see, depending on where we retrace to, if we get a 50% or so retracement, we'll get into the 51Ks. If we get into the 618 kind of zone, we'll get into the 50,000 area. And you would think you'd get at least a 38.2% retrace, which would get you into the 52s somewhere. Now, if we somehow don't even retrace that deep, and we just start trending up here again, I mean, that's kind of a sign of strength if you can't even get a what would be a typical retracement. That's just kind of a sign of underlying bullishness, and it's just so bullish. There's so much buying pressure that you can't even get that normal pullback that you would typically look for. That's just kind of a data point to take in and say, all right, I guess it's just even more bullish, and we should have a decent run up here to come. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here. Short term, I did get an entry at lower levels, but I'd like to get more size on, and what I'm waiting for to do that is just a more decent retracement of this initial move off the bottom. Whether I get it or not, I guess we'll see. Sometimes it gets away on you, and you just don't get that that entry you're looking for, or in this case, secondary entry that I'm looking for. Yeah, but I think the underlying message here, if I go back out to the let's say the 4-hour chart, underlying message is we finished whatever this pattern was to the downside, and now we are starting something more substantial. And whether it leads to new highs or not, I think we do have higher to go, at least from a shorter term trading aspect, before we have to start worrying about taking out the old lows. And of course, currently, so wherever you get an entry here, or if you got an entry down here, that's great. Or if you anywhere you've entered essentially off of that bottom, currently your stop absolutely needs to be that 47K area. That has to hold, and I think it will. Certainly looks promising off the bottom there, as far as nice trending action, strong rejection of those lower levels. So yeah, initial stop for any kind of fresh long here will be that 47 area, and then if we can get some development, whenever we finish our little short-term correction here, start going back up. Once we start getting that development, I would refine the stop to maybe break even or better, depending where your entry point was, and then just see if this thing can get going again. And if it doesn't, a couple things to think about: take partial profits, leave the break-even stop on the rest, or just at least put that break-even stop on and accept basically a wash trade, get out without any damage if it does come back in and we are still correcting further to the downside in some sort of larger pattern. But I don't think we're there yet, so I'm going to focus on this shorter term action, which still has me leaning bullish, at least until we get into some of these deeper retracement levels, and then of course reassess the situation there. All right, just a quick short-term Bitcoin update. Hopefully that's helpful for someone, and yeah, I'll check in again when I see something compelling there. Serial Trader signing off.